It's internet time. Internet time. It's internet time. What up, internet? What are you up to? What's going on, internet? What's happening now? Oh, I got water in my face. What's happening right now, internet? What's going on? We're warming it up. Warming it up. Oh, I got smoking. Something caught in my throat. All right. Hey, what's going on, internet? What's happening? Big Pedro, first one to the live chat. Congratulations. Congratulations, you beat Joel Gillett here. Where's Joel Gillett? Who knows? It's his birthday, and we're going to have to sing him happy birthday when he gets here in a little bit. He might get here. Who knows? He might not get here. Nisi's here, and no, you didn't make it first. Punky Pam is here. What's up? Dank Tanks. Dank Tanks. Wushu Jimmy Brown with the shenanigans. Smart shenanigans. And Steven Skoglund with the internets. Victoria is here. What is up? What is up, Victoria? I know Victoria. How you doing? How you doing, Victoria? How's it going? How you doing? Are you flowing? Dank Tank says a happy birthday if he's here. Out here in Western Washington, quick weather update. My hair's all wet, not because it's raining outside, because it's still hot, but it has cooled down quite a bit significantly here, so we're looking forward to blowing out some of the old smoke out there and the ash and all that whatnot, which everyone here is looking forward to. Maybe a little bit of rain coming in is what they're saying, and it's going to blow it out. It's going to swoop in, whoosh, and blow it on out. You know what I'm saying? And so that's going to be good news. If you guys noticed from the title here today, we're working on drying out the hops. This is actually a video from a couple of days ago, which will be the video section, which is, as you guys know, later on. It's in the middle of the live stream here, at the live stream format. That I'm doing here because we like the interactive nature of the live stream. I think that's how we like to do it here. There will be some more produced videos coming in the future. To those of you that were wondering when that stuff's going to be going down, it's when the other 180-gallon tank is getting set up. So I'll do a couple of produced videos out of that with some blast beats and some nonsense. And we'll have those coming out for you to give you guys some statistics and things that I guess, maybe not statistics is the wrong word. Maybe give you guys a little information of the stuff that's going on. Oh, there he is, the man of the day. The man of the day. It's his birthday, Joel Gillett. Maybe it was yesterday. I don't know. Maybe it's his birthday here and it's not his birthday there anymore. But either way, if it's a belated happy birthday, happy birthday, happy birthday. We can't sing the other song because it's copywritten and somebody might freak out. So happy birthday to Gerald Gillett. It's New Zealand, so punch what is it? Oh, punch a extinguished, what are they? Oh, extinct. Punch an extinguished bird in the face. Happy birthday, man. The good internet friend, the Kiwi, the Joel Gillett. Happy birthday, man. Oh, that copyright ran out earlier this year? Oh, okay. Well, I'm still working on my happy birthday song for when it's people's birthday. You know, I can be like, happy birthday, punch a fish. Oh, wait, no, that's not right. But either way, I'm still working on the happy birthday song. I've been trying to compose one here, but it's not working out as well as I think it should. You know, we'll get there. We'll get there. We should probably have some blast beats and be all like, wow, 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 wow. And then insert sample clip somewhere of a robot talking. It's like the landing gear is up. So we'll work on that. We'll work on getting that out to you at some point in time. A file. Victoria is here saying happy birthday, and since Victoria is here, I just reminded me there have been some requests for somebody to make a T-shirt. So I'm gonna put it up to Victoria. I asked her about it, and she said it was cool. She's gonna help us out, design a little T-shirt and get a T-shirt thing out in case anybody wants a T-shirt that says surprises on it, all hella big. And if anybody wants a shirt in that variety, Vicky's going to be helping out with that. So to anybody out there that's waiting for a T-shirt or something, then that's what's going on with that, if anybody was wondering. Oh, it's Joel Gillett's birthday. His name's Glass Boxes now. As you guys know, Victoria is most of the genius behind this situation. I'm what you call the grunt in life here. So she's going to be helping out with the shirts, like I was saying, and that will come out at some point in time. I don't know when, but fairly soon, probably in a couple weeks or something like that. We'll have some links for y'all to get a shirt that yells at people and says later and stuff like that. Why is this never work? Yep. But happy birthday to the other side of the planet, my man. And hopefully it was a smooth one. I hear you're actually moving into regular adulthood. Yeah, he's moving into regular adulthood, so we're going to look forward to seeing an actual cover on the TPS reports, that those actually be filed properly, because you no longer can get away with just saying, hey man, I'm not really a real adult yet, because now you're moving into the real adult stuff where you're going to be real responsible for the real important stuff like cover sheets on reports. Phil Emerson says, strange, just got my notification for the live stream 2 hours in, not bitching at all, just information, very strange, and hello. Well, we're actually only 7 minutes in, so I wouldn't be super freaked out. I don't know why it's saying 2 hours in, although that was happening to me the other day when I tried to get on somebody else's live stream. I was like, oh, let me catch up to live here, and it went 3,000 minutes into the future, which I'm not sure how it was doing that, and then freaked out and decided to not work at all. So if you feel like you're behind a little bit, we're only 7 minutes and 54 seconds, 8 minutes in, so you didn't miss too much. And those of you that are trying to figure out the schedule, the notification thing only works sort of some of the time, a little bit, but 4 o'clock Pacific Standard Time is when we start up. And as I've mentioned before, I come on here for an hour, so from 4 to 5, depending on what ends up happening. We know that some people out there have dropped the super chat extension to stay on longer, so sometimes that happens. People are like, hey man, I need you to answer my question, and I'm getting to the end of the hour. We got the extension thing. I don't know, it's sort of loosey-goosey. I'm not like, hey, you got to pay me $1 million or something to stay on or anything goofy like that. It's just been happening sort of organically, so we're just going to go with it. And Phil, if to answer your don't want to miss one word, no worries, this does upload as a video later, so if you guys if there was a live stream that you guys liked or something, if there was something in it, you guys can actually share it from the point when you can actually share it from the point that you want, if that makes sense. You can skip ahead like 20 minutes in and copy the link, and it'll actually, so if you go and like post it on Facebook, you can go like, hey, right at this point, there was a bunch of nonsense that I wanted to share or whatever. If people don't know that, you can actually go to YouTube on the video and then set it to where you want it, and then copy the link, and it'll give you a time when within the video that you wanted to share. So if that is something that you guys want to do, look forward to that. I would look forward, or look forward to that. I don't know if that's something you guys want to do. That something that I wanted to mention because some people were like, "Look, man, I can't share an hour and a half long video," and I'm like, "Cool, I get it." But you can, if there was a portion that you wanted to share with some people, like in a fish group or whatever, you can actually do that. You can go to YouTube and set it from the point where you want to share from. So if you go like 28 minutes in and then I was talking about something that you maybe wanted to share or whatever, then you can pass it on that way. And so we've come back from our trip, and one of the things that we noticed when we came back from our trip was that our hops are pretty much getting matured. And those of you know that have been following for a long time, our new property here actually had some hops just planted in it. We made the decision, as most of you know, that hops are generally used for beer, but they do have a bunch of other sort of hippie uses, really, would be the easy way to explain it. They come in handy for a lot of stuff, not necessarily for fish tanks, so I understand that maybe this portion, this video or whatever, won't make a lot of sense to you guys, but I feel that gardening and the working on as much agriculture stuff that you can is going to definitely benefit your fish hobby. The more that you can learn about agriculture, I honestly think the more you can learn about fish tanks. These are two things that definitely have a lot of cross-pollination. Oh, see what I did there? There's a lot of cross-pollination between the two. And also, a lot of people make beer these days. You guys know that I'm sober and I don't drink beer, which means I don't brew beer, but I know a lot of you partake in home brewing and that kind of stuff, and maybe you have some questions about what to do with your hops, how to grow them, what to expect, or this kind of would be a useful information with a lot of other herbs, because this is the same way that we're going to actually treat a lot of if we had a copious amount of basil, if we had a whole bunch of like cilantro, thyme, any of that kind of stuff that we wanted to dry out. This is the same way that we would do it with those. So this is helpful across more than just the hops themselves, but this is what we were working on at the time. So that's what I titled the video, to not make it super confusing for people. But like I said, we had these hops planted, so we don't know what they actually are, which strain they are. Honestly, I'm not that good at visually identifying hops all that well. They seem like a pretty standard hop to me. Once we finally figured out that they were hops, that's kind of about as far as we got. We don't know if they're like some kind of specific crazy strain that people might be wildly into or whatnot. But we did throw out some feelers to see if anybody was interested in picking up our hops or anything like that. If any... it seemed like most people had enough hops for their projects that they were doing. So what Vicky and I are going to do is dry these out, we're going to dry these out and use these for some more medicinal purposes other than beer brewing and whatnot. But just want to mention that here right at the beginning so that people don't kind of freak out as we go along here. But I think that agriculture and fish tanks going together is very important. Let's see, Famous Jones here saying, Corey from Aquarium Co-op wanted me to check you out. Thank you very much. And speaking of Aquarium Co-op and Corey, I actually had some autoplay going while I was working on some art, some commission pieces, which I wish I could show you guys the commission piece I'm working on right now, but I can't. Not until I'm done. I agreed to not post halfway done updates of this piece. So we're gonna have to wait till I'm done, which is actually it's gonna be fairly soon. I would guess Monday or Tuesday is probably when we'll be able to show you the video of that piece that is over there, and I can't show it to you. But speaking of that, Corey popped up on my autoplay, which I had going in the background, and he actually did a walkthrough of kind of the outside of his property, wherever he lives there. And you could see some of his outside tanks and the kind of garden area that he's got going on out there. That is fairly similar to a lot of the stuff that we're actually working on out here. We have ICB containers filled with water and all that kind of stuff to get the outside pond going. We're going to be digging the hole and putting the greenhouse right next to where these hops are. So a little bit of a parallel there, but I think it's important for people to get some of that outside stuff going to start figuring out if they want to do breeding projects or that kind of stuff. It's much easier to do in a big pond setup and stuff like that outside, because it's a really kind of a lot of fish out there. You can kind of just set them and forget them out there in the nice green water with some plants growing in it and that kind of stuff, and you can actually be using that water. So our system is actually going to go from the fish room out to a holding tank, and then that holding tank will go to the ponds and that kind of stuff outside as we keep building here and kind of developing the project. So it will make sense in the long run, and how much the stuff comes along. So all of our fish tank, when we do water changes, we actually take all the water from the water change and hold it into a container out there that we use to water our plants with. So none of that stuff goes down the drain. We don't just pump any of the fresh water straight down the drain. We actually utilize it. So I think this stuff all goes hand in hand. And I think it definitely could advance a lot of people in the hobby and actually create a lot more enjoyment, and also give you something to eat too when you get down to it. You might be able to save a couple bucks on the grocery bill. But I think, as most people understand out there, growing just a bit of produce in your backyard is more of just on the hobby end. It's not going to like completely eliminate your grocery bill or anything like that, especially with how cheap groceries are now. I know that even not in season right now, we went and there was asparagus, which is not in season, was only $1.99 for a big, huge bunch of it, which you could definitely do $1.99 worth of screwing around with asparagus in probably about 10 minutes while you're out there. Donnie Hill's here. What's up, man? And Famous Jones says, Corey convinced me to add plants to my tank and loving it. Yeah, for sure. It is very important. Phil Emerson says, how about now? I don't know what that means. I'm confused. What other stuff are hops used for? Oh, lotions and soaps. Yeah, Victoria kind of answered that right there. Punky Pam. Oh, speaking of Punky Pam, she's actually sending some of her lilies, which I am super excited to get. They should be here in the mail fairly soon. I hope they're here tomorrow, so we'll be able to open that up and check out some of those lily bulbs and stuff she's sending our way, which is super awesome. Oh, how about now showing you guys the painting? Yeah, the commission piece is probably going to be, like I said, Monday or Tuesday. I had an agreement with the person that it is for to not do any halfway updates, if you know what I'm saying. So they're happy to have a video, but they actually want it to be completely finished before a video goes out, if that makes sense. Yeah, I think that makes sense, sort of. Oh, irises, not lilies. Oh, sorry. I got irises and lilies mixed up in my head. I have to admit that is an Achilles heel of this guy's right here. Flowers, I am the worst at trying to identify flowers. I don't even know how to do it. For whatever reason, I find it very difficult. I'm like, oh, those are snapdragons, and Vicky's like chiming in on the Latin. She'll give me the Latin name of it. I am terrible at identifying flowers, and I think Vicky is really kind to me, realistically, and doesn't give me a load of crap about it, but she easily could. I'm terrible at flowers. I'm the worst. But you know, we all have our deficiencies, right? That just happens to be one of mine. But yes, thank you very much for sending those out. Like I said, I'm excited. It doesn't change the fact that I'm excited. I am excited to get those, and hopefully we'll have a whole bunch of flowers going by next spring, and I'm pretty stoked for that. I don't know about the irises. We might be able to grow irises in the greenhouse. I don't know. I don't know if we can or not. Oh, Victoria's just being humble over there in the chat, you guys. Don't trust her. Don't trust her humility. She's just being humble. All right. Speaking of humility, here comes the damn advertising part. As you guys know, I don't want to have any advertising on here anymore. That's my main goal. My main goal is to eliminate the advertisers altogether. We're going to we want to eliminate those. That's the new goal. You can go to the Patreon, www.patreon.com/Joel_C. That's the Patreon page. The reason I like the Patreon is you guys can go there. You can see what's going on. You can see what the goals are. You can see how much is funded, how much is not funded. It's wide open for you guys to actually check it out and stuff. That's why the reason I like that. That's why we have the Patreon going here, so you guys can chip in on it. You can chip in on it as much as you want. $1, $100, $100 million, doesn't really matter. Depends on how big your pocketbook is, and it takes it out once a month at the end of the month. So you can actually just you know, subscribe to this channel for like $2 a month. You can go like, hey man, this guy's worth $2. He gets on here and puts up 25 to 30 hours worth of stuff to watch and or listen a month. Maybe that's worth $2 to you. Maybe it's worth more. Maybe it's worth nothing. Who knows? One of the easy ways to contribute to this channel that is free. I've had that conversation a few times now with some of the younger fans and that kind of stuff out there, is to come on here when we're live streaming, pop into the chat, hit the like button, do the subscribe thing and all that kind of nonsense. I think most people understand how the subscribe works and all that jazz, right? So you get a good idea how that stuff goes. Another way to contribute without having to take any dollars out of your pocket is to go over to darkstararts.com and click through the Amazon banner if you're going there to buy something. If you can go there and you can buy toilet paper, you could buy tape measures, you could buy film for a Polaroid camera. It doesn't matter what you buy there, it doesn't change the price. By going to darkstararts.com, click through the Amazon banner, and it takes you straight to Amazon. It's just normal old Amazon, nothing different about it. What it does is it just kicks us the advertising portion, which is a very small amount of money, but obviously it adds up. Every time you put a penny in the jar, you'll eventually get something. And like I said, it doesn't change the price. But here's the caveat to that. If you don't want to click on my Amazon banner, make sure you click on somebody's Amazon banner. I click on the disabled veterans banner before I go to buy things at on Amazon, and hopefully it gives them a little bit of a kickback every time I have to buy a new microphone or some cords or something around here. Just make sure you click on something so it's not going to some of those skeezy advertisers out there. Those pop-up ads that you accidentally click on Facebook and stuff like that, they're the ones that are getting that money. So you can either do it to me or make sure you do it to some kind of charity out there. Eventually, if I keep telling you guys about that, eventually someone's going to come by here and put a gun at my head, but they haven't done it yet, so we're just going to keep doing it. But make sure that stuff goes on if you guys haven't clicked on anything like that. The Aquarium Cowboys here. What's up, man? Steven Scoglin's asking, I've been watching your business help channel, Corey. Thanks for sharing all the great information. Oh yeah, I did watch one of Corey's business help. I forget the name. What was the name of that? Hold on. I don't know. I can't remember the name of it. I don't know. I forget the name of it, but I'm sure you can find it. Corey has a new YouTube advice channel for businesses and YouTube, and there it is, the YouTube grind. There you go. Make sure you guys check that out. Actually, a lot of really good information on there. A lot of stuff that I agree with for sure. So yeah, definitely very helpful for a lot of people out there that are starting out or maybe confused about things that they're trying to do. Famous Jones says, "Will do. I'm an Amazon freak. Bought most of my supplies from Amazon." Oh, right on. Yeah, so just make sure you click through somebody's Amazon link. You know what I'm saying? Before you go there. Hopefully it's mine. If not, hopefully it's somebody that that you want to help support. Like I said, it doesn't change the price, so just check out on that stuff. Hey, FU2 is just lurking and doing some water changes while listening. Right on. Maybe he's got YouTube Red, which is cool. Kevin Hayes is here, man. What's up? Hopefully you safely made it out of Florida. I'm telling you, if you guys aren't friends with Kevin on Facebook, he posted his moving out of Florida. He was moving out of Florida to relocating to a different area of the world, and he definitely was making fun of himself with the Beverly Hillbillies type loaded truck with his tank and all of his stuff. And hopefully he made it out of there just in the nick of time before the giant hurricane blows through, and hopefully everybody else makes it through, makes it out of there, out of the way of that storm. Get the hell out of there. Most people can't fathom 100-mile-an-hour wind, let alone 160-mile-an-hour wind is what they're saying now when it's going to make landfall. They're saying it's going to drop down a little bit from 200 to 160. It's absurd. I will tell you this much: I've stood in front of a 100-mile-an-hour wind fan before, and it is ridiculous. It is not cool. So I would say that if you're living in Florida, just get the hell out of the way. Don't try to be some kind of hero. It's generally doesn't work out very well, and it's not very heroic when you just get killed by a storm. You know what I'm saying? It's not like you saved a baby from a burning building and they're like, he was a hero. You just were some guy that decided to stay in your house and then died. It doesn't really work out. We have a lot of similar stories here in the Pacific Northwest with the kind of people that stayed on the mountain. They said the mountain is going to explode, and a bunch of people stayed on it, and guess what? The mountain exploded, and now they just are no more. Obviously, this is almost a 40-year-old story, but it's similar here. We hear about it all the time. Every time anybody talks about Mount St. Helens, it always comes up, oh, hey, what about all those people that stayed on Mount St. Helens, and they just blew up, and then they were just gone. I don't think it was heroic or anything like that. I think they just punched their card and said, forget it, which is kind of sad, because you could have done something cool. Could have gone on to do something cool, right? You could have invented a six-winged airplane that spun around like crazy, and then you died on doing that. I don't know. Aquarium Cowboy, want to say thanks for the shout out yesterday. I'm doing good. Oh, right on. You're very welcome, and I'm doing great. I'm doing great over here. My left foot is actually killing me today, but all will be well. Probably take some Tylenol or something. Big E's saying, hi, Jimmy. Thank you. Am shop at Beamtown. Okay, I'm confused now. Oh, okay. I don't know. I think one of my favorites. Won't hide them in the greenhouse. Our flower beds out front would be a good spot. Yeah, cool. Those flowers end up going out front. These are tall bearded iris. They can't go in water. Not sure about the greenhouse. Should be okay. Yeah, I was thinking about potting them in the greenhouse to get them kind of get them primed for next year, but we shall see how it goes with those flowers coming from Punky Pam. Joel Gillett's slowly perfecting his Washington accent thanks to me and Corey. That's good. If you're gonna come over here, you don't want to be having some goofy accent like my buddy John, who's wandering around with his Welsh accent that doesn't make a whole lot of sense. You know what I'm saying? Let's see here. Expat Aquatics. It's midnight in Scotland. Corey tipped me off to the stream, and I happened to be up late enough tonight. Oh, well, welcome, Expat. I understand it's always super late when I'm online. Whenever I'm on live, it's always late in Europe. I can't seem to work out any kind of schedule that makes the Europeans happy, and I apologize for that. Maybe someday, if we got a lot of money to do I guess money's not the big deal, but if we got this funded or whatever, maybe I'll do like 3 live streams a day, once every 8 hours or something. I don't know. It might be possible. I'll figure out a schedule someday that works for everybody, but who knows? Because we're working on a 24-hour schedule here, it ends up being an issue. Fish in a box, being a hero only works if you have a cape. Good point. You should probably buy a cape for sure. So I really should have learned by now not to rely on YouTube notifications. Mellow, you're right. Don't trust the notifications 100%. We only get them sometimes. Let's see. Okay, Kevin says he made it out alive. I basically put my fish and coral in the refrigerator. I dropped them to 58 degrees, but I think I dodged the bullet. My meteor shower is the only one looking gnarly so far. Oh, yeah, meteor showers will generally have a bit of a problem. They're a little sensitive, but you can make it happen. Oh, if everything's lights have been on about 4 hours, almost everything is opening up. That is awesome, Kevin. I'm glad to hear that. Let's see here. Accent or not, Washingtonians can spot intruders. Just have them say Puyallup. Yep. Kevin Keener, you're 100% correct. All you have to do... Oh, Puyallup? Some people know how to say Puyallup. Puyallup's not the true test, Kevin. The true test is Spokane. If somebody can say Spokane or not, that is the one. Because Puyallup, a lot of people would have pause if you just showed it to them, and then they would go, well, and then they'd be like trying to figure it out. And you could almost just go, maybe they were illiterate and they don't know how to read or something. I don't know. Maybe they could get off on that. But Spokane is easy to read. But people not from here don't know how to say it. They always say it wrong. They always do. And they can't figure it out. And not until somebody corrects them. But it's really easy to tell if somebody's not from here or not. You just show them Spokane, and they'll always call it Spokane. It's hilarious. But that's the easy one. That's the easy one to spot people on. Hump Tulips is a good one also. If you never heard of Hump Tulips, that's an actual town here in Washington. Even the today bit at the end. That's pretty good. Well, I know Joel Gillett's hanging out on the... He says he's hanging out at home. I'm sorry, I'm bashing the mic here. Sorry about that, guys. He says he's hanging out at home, but don't believe him. He's actually repeating the stuff on the bus. We know that he's doing it on mass transit. Saying this, he's repeating stuff that he's hearing on mass transit. It's basically just to keep all the riffraff away from him because they think that he's crazy. So it kind of works. You could try it out. Like maybe if you have to ride the subway or something like that, you could try that out. We call it the gillet, pulling the gillet. That's what we call it here, around these parts. That's what we call it. World renowned, world famous. Happy birthday. Kevin Hayes got YouTube Red for the way home, listening to me and Aquarium Co-op and Jimmy and a couple chosen others made it feel like I had my homies on the road trip. Right on. Yeah, YouTube Red would definitely come in handy for road trips because you can download just the audio and then just listen to it. Oh, all right. Yeah, YouTube Red is great for that. Makes dealing with traffic worth it. Not a lot of YouTube channels can pull off making the audio as interesting as the video, but y'all got it nailed down. Oh, thank you very much, man. I appreciate that for sure. Yeah, you just shout surprises on the bus and watch people move away. You could do it. You could just, you could just be like hanging on the bus, like surprises, and then. People will freak out and run off the bus. But on the upside, you'd have the bus all to yourself. You know, you'd have your own chauffeur. You have your own chauffeur riding you around in $1 million bus with just one person. Oh, Eve Diggle's here. What's up? It's our favorite Canadian. I want to say Eve is from Ontario. I'm guessing, I think. I always get where people are from wrong, except for Gillett, because he's from New Zealand. Kevin is the bus driver. Wonder if that'll work for you. Yes, actually it will. Actually it will. My favorite bus driver of all time, we all called him Mr. T because we didn't really know what his name was. And not to sound racist, but he was a huge black dude it was a black fella that spent a lot of time at the gym. And we called him Mr. T, not because he was a big black guy, but because he had ripped his sleeves off to show the gun show, he'd taken the sleeves off of the Metro shirt so that the pythons could be out. And he was a very nice guy. He was very friendly, super cool dude. And he would well, I want to say that he would rap the bus stops, but he would kind of like, he had his own weird style that I definitely got along with. I always talked to this guy whenever I got onto the bus, because he would like, coming up, you know, he'd be like, coming up, and then he would say like whatever street it was going to be, like Bell Street, coming up, and super cool dude. And we also called him Mr. Chief from the one altercation that I saw with this guy. The greatest bus driver moment I think I've ever seen of all time. Crazy homeless guy who kind of crackhead dude who would get on the bus and cause problems all the time. Was coming to get on the bus, and this dude just stood up, like just took the seatbelt off, stood up, went down there, and just was like, "Not today," and it's just like, "Not today," just hella loud, and crackhead dude was like, "Oh, not today," and just turned around and like wandered up off the street, and we took off on the bus, I love this guy. He's my favorite bus driver. And then one day he obviously just got another route or something, and he just never was on there again. But probably about 6 months riding the bus with that guy, and he was my favorite bus driver of all time. If anybody was really interested in my bus driver story, well, you got it. That's my favorite. That's my favorite bus driver. A video where it didn't happen. Born in Ontario, correct, but live in Alberta. Oh, man, I was close, Eve. Eve, I was close. I knew something about Ontario. I feel like I let you down, man. I feel like I let you down. I don't feel good about it. Yeah, Mr. T hated to fly. Well, that's why another reason why he drove the bus, right? Instead of being a pilot. I think he could have easily been a pilot, I'm sure. He was buff enough to do it. I've been working around the house before with Corvus playing. I know I've only heard the surprises part from the other room. Always cracks me up. Oh, is it that loud? I don't know. I turned the compression off on here, so I can just be loud whenever I feel like it, and just break people's speakers or something. I'm just kidding. It's on. All right, let's go to the video. It's a video time. If anybody remembers this chop saw, this is the one that took my thumb off, which seems to be healing fairly well. A slight concern with the nail right here. But this is that same Danger Will Robinson chop saw. We actually got some scavenged 2x4s here that we got from our friend Long Woo, who was taking down some old buildings at his, some old structures at his property there. And I haven't heard from him in a while. I'm wondering if he's doing okay. Wherever you are, Long, we're thinking about you, and hopefully everything's all right. But like I said, we got some 2x4s here, and we're just going through and basically building a pretty basic frame. The netting that I'm using here is an aluminum screen from a roll of window screen, the aluminum type window screen. And the reason I'm making this the size that I'm having to make it is because the window screen is only 36 inches wide. I believe the roll comes out, I think it's like 40 feet long or something like that. I don't remember how long it is. Maybe it's 50 feet. It's a big roll, but the reason I have this roll instead of just buying the little segments is it happened to be on super sale clearance. They weren't going to be carrying it anymore. So I bought this whole roll for $2.80 when it was on sale, and I think I bought some other rolls too. And I think I used up all the other ones. This is the last one I have left, but it came in real handy, especially since it came in clearance here. So I wasn't really making this any specific size other than the fact that it was 36-inch wide, because then I'd be able to fit the whole screen on there, essentially. It wasn't like, oh, this thing has to be 4 feet long or 5 feet long or any of that kind of stuff. So I just averaged out minus the 36-inch So I did 36-inch cutoffs on the 2x4s, and then I just averaged out whatever I had left over, and that's how long it was going to be. It turns out it's 45 inches long and 35 inches wide. Super weird. Not a big deal. This thing doesn't need to be a specific or anything other than it being the 36-inch wide. I think the aluminum screen is actually going to work a lot better than using a plastic screen. I wouldn't recommend the plastic screen, mainly because, as you'll see in the video here, I end up putting this out in the sun. The sun could cause a lot of problems with the little bit of weight from the hops. Could just be enough, plus the power of the sun, to warp it and cause it to bend and have a big dip in it and get all screwed up. So that's why not only because I had the aluminum, but I wouldn't have wanted to use the plastic stuff either, so I ended up using the aluminum that I had here. This is a basic framing nailer. I'm just popping a couple of nails in there to hold it together. Y'all could screw it or do anything you want more permanent if you like, but as you'll see, once I add the screen on, we're going to add so much rigidity to the structure by essentially stapling the screen around the total circumference of the thing. It's going to have so many staples in it and stuff like that. It doesn't take a whole lot to make this square. And you can see that these kind of older boards are a little bit warped. They aren't true. There isn't, they aren't perfectly straight or anything like that. Not super important for this. It's a great application for some old kind of warped up boards. The scissors I use, nothing special. Those are just some, I think, Husky general purpose scissors. It'll cut right through this stuff. It's not a big deal. All the aquarium cowboys gotta go. See you later. Goodbye. Thanks for the stream. You're very welcome. Thanks for coming out, cowboy. Oh, Kevin Hayes is wondering if I'm not a drinker, what am I using the hops for? We're actually going to be making soaps and probably some oil out of it and a couple other things. But because I'm not actually, we addressed that a little bit earlier in the video, but it's good to go over it again. We're going to be using this for sort of some hippy-dippy stuff. We're going to be using it for some soaps, some oil, and something else, which I think I mentioned just a second ago, but it has escaped my mind. I can only remember 2 things at a time, apparently, today. What happened? I got a bit of a bird brain over here today, but sorry about that. The one thing that I wanted to mention from having built this little thing here, this is essentially what you could do to make a DIY, either aquarium top or like a lizard cage top. This is exactly how I used to make the lizard cage tops. I just wouldn't use 2x4s. I would just use a smaller piece of wood. But this is essentially how I would build the tops for the aquariums when I used to have chameleons and like turtles and stuff like that. This is how I would keep the tops and essentially keep the bugs out and keep that kind of stuff from going in and out of the tank. That's kind of the big one of the big issues with reptiles and stuff, is just essentially keep things going from going in and out of the tank is ultimately going to be the problem. For somebody like me, this thing is really simple. This is something that's really simple to build. For people out there that have never done it before, I can understand how this might seem a little bit complicated. And so I figured I would make a little video out of it and just share a little bit of information with people just to show you like how simple this could be. If you had a stapler, a hammer, and a saw, you could make this whole thing yourself. And like I said, this would come in really handy for an aquarium top if you didn't want to do glass or something like that for whatever reason. Possibly keep your fish in your tank a little bit easier than glass would. But like I said, this is what I used to build when I was a kid for all my lizards and turtles and all that kind of stuff that I used to have. Kevin saying, I didn't know hops would grow in Western Washington. Wonder if they'll do as well when we have more summer rain. They'll actually do fairly well over here. Well, I'll actually go over that in just a minute. So stick with me, and we'll go over that in just a second. But like I said, I used to have chameleons and turtles and stuff, and it was important to build these. So that's why I used to build these when I was a kid. And I tried to do it out of the plastic when I was a kid a couple of times, and the same thing happened. Anytime anything got set on top or any of that kind of nonsense, it would just flex and fall apart and all that kind of stuff, and it was just always problematic. Here's some basically the legs that we're going to use for this is just some of my sawhorse legs from the job site. Some of my job site legs, which clearly I look like an idiot here trying to get this out, but it gotten wedged in. There's some kind of debris had gotten stuck in there and stopped me from getting that one leg out. Plus it was really hot. I mean, what are you supposed to do when it's really hot out? Joel Gillett's got to go to lunch in a second, but thanks for the birthday wishes, the love song, and also general daily wishes, love, and song also. Right. Well, Gillett, you always got to go to lunch. It's ridiculous. You just bail out on us and go to lunch. Whatever. Y'all with your New Zealand style tea breaks and all that stuff. High tea. So, to give you an idea here, this is what the hops grow like in Western Washington. They actually do grow pretty well out here, regardless of we don't need the extended super hot summer like we've had here. And the reason for that is when you're growing your hops, as prescribed to me from some of the farmers that I sort of bugged to try and find out what I was supposed to be doing with taking care of the hops, plus Vicky watching YouTube videos and stuff like that. So we dialed down. So what you want to do when you have your hops in there, you what happened? What's going on here? Oh, I don't know. I'm confused. Sorry, the chat thing was weirding out for a second there. But when you have your hops planted, what you essentially are going to do is going to allow them to grow up into the air, right? From all the guys that I could talk to about how to grow the hops, they said eliminate the extra vines. Eliminate the extra vines, and because you want some robust vines. You want a few robust vines versus a whole bunch of crappy vines. Does that make sense? A bunch of skinny little crappy vines. So what you want to do is cut them back. They said you typically in a farming situation, you want to cut them back at 12 foot. But from the guys that I talked to, it seemed like 8 foot would work. It's not optimal, but that's where we cut ours off at. Vicky was super good about going out, trimming them off, and then they all started to flower down here at the nice level. And we ended up with a full 5-gallon bucket of these hops here. And then that's basically what we had to do. Mellow Moogle saying, while the hops almost look like scruffy little Brussels sprouts, they do look like scruffy little Brussels sprouts pretty much. They're not as dense. They're like more fluffy, if that makes sense. A little bit of a pain in the butt to try and keep them alive with the amount of bugs that we have out here, because they do attract bugs. They have a lot of oils all over them and stuff like that. Though on the upside, they do attract a lot of ladybugs. So even if you don't say want to grow the hops for any of the like medicinal benefits or the beer benefits, the upside is that they attract ladybugs like crazy. So if you have these planted somewhere near your garden, the upside is that they're going to bring in all these ladybugs. And now the ladybugs are really good for your garden. No reason why is they're the main contributor of eating aphids. Aphids are these little bright green flea-looking buggers that will eat your plants and just destroy your garden. And the ladybugs are the main predator of those Buster Browns. So that's kind of one of the cool things about the hops, and one of the great things about adding them to a standard garden. Even if you're not going to do anything with them, with the hops, it'll actually just bring in a lot of those ladybugs and stuff like that. Because here's the weird thing: we actually learned something this year. There's the little ladybug larvae where they hatch their eggs and all that kind of stuff. They're these weird looking orange and black spiny things, and I couldn't remember exactly what those things were. and Vicky couldn't remember what they were either. We're like, what the hell are these weird things showing up on the hops plant? And we felt like a couple of dunces, because once we finally found a picture of it, it was like, oh, that's the ladybugs. That's where they, that's where they deposit their bebes, if that makes sense. So that was pretty funny, but that's where they show up and drop off their thing, and they all definitely hung around very good, or very well, for quite a while, and definitely drew in, I think, a larger portion of ladybugs, so we didn't actually have to buy any. Obviously, our garden isn't extensive this year, but we might end up having to buy ladybugs next year. Who knows? With dependent on how big it's going to get. Hey, man! Hey, baby! God damn it! Let's jog. Hold on. Sorry about that. Dog is barking at the UPS man. Anyone in brown shorts is going to get barked at. That's the way it's going to go. Anybody outside with shorts on driving a truck is going to get yelled at. But now that we have this little tray here built, it's essentially a, because it's the screen bottom, it's going to allow airflow to go through. So the upside to this is that we knew it wasn't going to rain. We knew that it wasn't going to rain for 4 or 5 days, so we didn't have to like do this in the basement or anything like that, and like try to blow fans or any kind of nonsense like that, and end up working out doing it this way. This is sort of the old school method, to just get it outside and make sure that there's some airflow flowing through it. And then, as I said, this is a temporary structure. We can just take this all apart. We can hang this thing up for the other drying projects that we have later on coming up, and then we'll be able to reuse it as needed, and really didn't cost us anything. The legs are going to go back in my shop and being reused later on. Kevin has a great point here. He's asking, you can only harvest once a season? Pretty much. It's pretty much once a season to harvest off the hops, but we basically had 3 or 4 vines that were pretty stunted because I think they seemed like they were in their second year from most what everybody was kind of passing on to me information wise. They might be in their 3rd year, but it seems like they're in their 2nd year. After the 3rd year is when they're supposed to really grow in fully. But this is quite a bit just from the 3-4 vines basically that we ended up with. It does a really good covering too. So for the next year, we're actually going to build kind of a. Oh man, we went over this before. The walkway covering. I don't know. Pergola. I'm just going to call it a pergola because I can remember pergola. We're going to build like a pergola overhead thing. That this hops will end up growing over and just kind of have a little bit of a shaded area. Instead of doing grapes or anything like that, grapes won't come to fruition in Western Washington. They grow in, but they never get mature. They never get mature enough. They never get to the sugaring stage. So there's no reason to do the grapevines here. I've always given that advice to people that it's a huge waste of time to try and do that in Western Washington. You can do that in Eastern Washington. It's just not gonna bode well. Over here on this side, here on this side of the mountains. That is definitely one of them that I would include in that group. Sashimi is saying aphids are the worst, but they do make your foliage silvery and kind of cool looking. Aphids are just flat out the worst. They just suck. Kevin Keener saying, same principle as growing pumpkins, cut off the weaker ones. Exactly. That is pretty much exactly how it comes through. One thing I noticed today is there is, after a very short period here of growing, there actually is a full-on zucchini outside. So we'll actually be as you guys that have ever grown zucchini before know that we're going to be going hard on the zucchini for the next 3 to 4 weeks. Luckily, Vicky and I love that stuff, so that'll actually save us a trip to the store. So maybe that'll save money because we won't actually have to go to the store to get it. So that's pretty good, right? Well, right? So I think maybe that'll save us time. It'll save us time, and by saving us time, it saves us money. Kevin Hayes, if you don't see my other post, I'd love to buy some of the product for stocking stuffers if you guys get it done by December. Oh, the soap and that kind of stuff. I will let's see. I will you would have to get at Vicky for that. So I don't know, maybe you messaged me or emailed me or something, Kevin. But if that's something that you want, let me know. If let me see here. I don't know. But if we can't get to it, there is somebody that I could recommend, that I would highly recommend if you're looking for stocking stuffers of the soaps and all that kind of weird stuff. Let's see, I have it here. Hold on, let me get the picture. Oh, I opened this the wrong way. Where is the? Oh, here it is. Okay, all right. So it's in there. So I need to go add media file. All right. Did that one. And then scoobity boop. Wherever the boopity scoop is. Where did it go? I had found it. And I lost it. Smooth. It makes this part of the show really good. But either way, the person that you're looking for is the peddler in Ninilchik, is who you're looking for. I would highly recommend their soaps and all of that stuff. The peddler in Ninilchik is who. I'll just type it in here. Boosh. There we go. I typed it in and that was way easier, and it was better than me just making beeping, boimping noises with my mouth. Alright, there we go. Okay, sorry about that, guys. I was trying to get the picture and be really cool, and then by trying to get the picture and being really cool, I ended up being not cool. Let's see. Pickle it in spears, better than cucumber. Zucchini. Pickled zucchini? I don't know that I would do pickled zucchini. I don't know. I don't know that I would do that. I'm willing to try it. We'll see if Vicky wants to pickle some zucchini or not. All right. Hold on. What's going on here? Why is this not working? There we go. Boosh. Good douche. All right. All right. Well, we'll try some pickled zucchini at some point in time. All right. We're coming up on the last 3 minutes of the live stream, guys. So I want to give a shout out to all of our Patreonizers. I want to give a shout out to all of our Patreonizers before the time runs out here. Before the time runs out, unless anybody re-ups, then I'll stay on. But I want to give a shout out to the Patreonizers before we run out. And starting at the top of the list, we got coming in at the $250 mark, Aquarium Co-op. Coming in at the $20 mark, we've got Long Woo and Steven Scogland. At the $10, we've got Joel Gillett, Jack Betts, Cichlid Bro, Emden Hollander. Down here at the $5 mark, we've got Kyle Wildwelt, Kevin Hayes, Gene Fensky, Sashimi Whiskey, Jennifer J. Sarchicino, Matt Gilmet, Karen KZ Ellis. And coming in at the $1 mark, we've got Matthew. One Matthew, two Matthew. Matthew. Got 3D Reefer, Matt Weber, our buddy from Detroit. And the other one is Matthew, just plain old Matthew. So who knows who that is. Oh, and Steven Scogland coming in with the super chat, getting me to try and stay on longer. And guess what? I will stay on longer for general Q&A. As long as the Q&A can go, I will stay on. That's just pretty much how this works. If you guys come on, I'll be here, right? You'll be like, I'll be here for you if you're here for me. But don't forget to check out the Patreon there if you do get a chance. That is how we keep the lights on. That's how I keep the internet on. That's how I buy film for my camera in the form of SD cards. It's how I replace the hard drive out of this computer. All this stuff, the mixer board that we had to buy, the microphones that we had to buy, all that kind of stuff comes from viewers like you. I laugh, but it really does. I mean, I don't, it's not all you guys, a lot of it's me, but it's a portion of it's you guys, and that's why I keep going. That's why I keep this going. That's why I keep doing it. Had to send a message to a buddy of mine the other day about staying on and doing this, and one of the big reasons I stay on and do it is because of you guys. And we came to an agreement. That most everybody that comes on here for the live stream is pretty damn dope. You guys are a very small segment of the population when you actually do the math. When you break it down, if I only get 200 views on a video, which is pretty standard fare for me these days, if I only get 200 views on a video, if you break that down into 7.6 billion, it's a very small percentage, guys. So, hey, I look at it this way: very small percentage of the very best. That's just the way I see it. Scotland, well, you've got the extension. What kind of general Q&A are we going to talk about? It's once we hit that hour mark, which was 9 seconds ago, it's pretty much a free-for-all of nonsense. So feel free to ask me anything, and I'll do my best to answer it. Sometimes I have no knowledge of certain things, but sometimes I have general knowledge of random things. So let's see here. Oh, hold on. I think we can, while you guys type in some questions, let me double check with the community who sent me anything. Let's see here. Jennifer J. Sarchicino was writing in, somehow in my move, a mono shrimp moved from my 5-gallon, 10-gallon into the 75-gallon sump just randomly. She has no idea how it happened. Hey, I can totally relate to that. I have had all sorts of critters that have made no sense how they've moved tank to tank to tank to tank. It just really makes no sense. Oh, Nisi's got to go moderate some other live streams. See you later, Nisi. Have a good time. Have a good time. Have a good time. Have a good time. We'll see you later, Nisi. Nisi of the North. Oh, what happened to Nisi of the North? Now she's just Nisi again. Yesterday she was Nisi of the North. I like that more. It was more like Nanak of the North. If anybody knows who Nanak of the North is, congratulations. But yeah, I've had a lot of critters move around in tanks. At one point in time, I had a whatchamacallit. I had a what's the word I'm looking for? Oh, I had clown killies, and I also had some yellow cherries at some point in time, and they were only in one tank. They were really only in one tank. And here's the weird thing: the clown killies ended up in 6 or 7 different tanks. Their babies and their offspring and stuff like that ended up in a bunch of different tanks. Mainly because I moved. I'm guessing I moved a bunch of plants around, and their eggs. They had scattered their eggs on those plants, and then they eventually hatched in different tanks. But some of the adult clown killies had moved from tank to tank to tank. I had at one point in time, I had like 7 nano tanks all set up next to each other, and one must have hopped tank to tank to tank to tank to tank until he got to the end one, and then decided to just stay there, which was pretty interesting, that's for sure. Let's see, Phil Emerson. When was the first ever glass aquarium built? Oh, 1890s or something? I don't know. I think it was built in the 1890s, something like that. Oh, damn. In the United Kingdom, it became popular after ornate aquaria and cast iron frames were featured at the Great Exhibition of 1851. In 1853, the first large public aquarium opened in the London Zoo and became known as the Fish House. The very first modern aquarium made of glass developed in the 19th century. So somewhere deep in 1805, there we go, 1805, Robert Warrington built the first aquarium. Unlike the glass-sealed options we have today, they were sheets of glass held together with, I think, copper? No, let's see. Let's not lose the article here. Where did it go? The London Zoological Society began working on the first public aquatic vivarium, which is an early name for a fish tank. Pretty cool. So 1805 was apparently the first one. They were held together with steel. They had no heating, lights, or filters like the modern-day tanks. This often meant fish would not live for long due to the unsuitable conditions. The fish under gravel filter was not introduced all the way until the 1950s, which also saw the introduction of flake food rather than live food. With better tanks, more filtration, and longer life expectancies, it became easier to breed fish in captivity. And then guess what? The fish were doing it. Amazing, guys. That is crazy. I thought the 1890s was the first one. Turns out 1805 was the first one. Kevin Hayes got to drop out. Got salt water mixed. I got to get back to your tank. Oh, yeah. Kevin Hayes is moving from Florida to the other part of the United States. He's having to move his tanks and get them set back up. And that makes sense to me, for sure. Stephen Skoglund is asking, have you ever heard of Halocaridina rubra? Yes, those are the Hawaiian cherry shrimp, right? And full disclosure here, I did look it up and went, oh yeah, those are those Hawaiian. Those are the Hawaiian cherries. I do remember one of my bros moved back to Hawaii, and he actually would go out and get these with just a net. He would just go out there with a net and scoop them out and collect them. And he had a tank running with these. But the cool thing about what he was doing was he was able to just go collect coral with fins and a snorkel. He was able to take his snorkel out and go with his fins and go collect coral. That was the thing I was really seriously jealous of. He was able just to go hand pick whatever he wanted out of the ocean, because technically, if you're not exporting it and you're a Hawaiian resident, you can actually take stuff off the coral reef as long as you're not taking it to sell. If you're just keeping it, you can harvest a little bit. I think there's probably some kind of measurement system that they're making sure that you follow and adhere to, but I'm sure there is some of that, but we did look it up, and it turns out it is legal for them to go out and get some of that stuff. And I was definitely jealous of that situation, because he was able to just go get corals for free with just some effort, which would be super cool. And I was always jealous of. And he was also able to go out and get plants too. Man, maybe I should just move to Hawaii, right? I should probably just move to Hawaii, I guess, because I'm just jealous of that whole thing. Which, no, I've had some opportunities to move there, but it's not in my wheelhouse. I don't think I'd be able to handle it long term, personally. But I was pretty jealous of what he had going on there. Yeah. But a fairly easy shrimp to get a hold of, because you can they can ship them out of Hawaii within the United States, so it's pretty easy to get a hold of those. You can't ship into Hawaii, but you could send them out. Those little shrimps are pretty easy to declare, so that's not the worst thing in the world. Jenny Lee saying she loves my voice. I would believe it if you told me that you were a narrator. I wouldn't mind doing some narration work. Some people have been asking me if I'd be willing to do some voiceover. Yeah, I'll do some voiceover for you if you actually have an FTP or can meet up in person. You could hire me to do your voiceover if you like. I just have to get the time signature and the script from you. If anybody out there was wanting me to do it for you, I don't know, man. I'd do it. I do work, man. I don't mind. So the brackish shrimp and all that, something that came in from today that was a little bit marketable, I guess, discussion-wise. Oh, hold on, I just totally lost my train of thought. A lot of people have been talking about the ash that's been going on. The ash does need to be cleaned off of people's cars, so keep that in mind. And like I said, I've got I've only got about half a brain today because I've been working just doing painting all day today, so I haven't really had a time to get my blood pumping, which means I'm gonna have to grab these weights back here and try and run around a little bit and try to get some of my stuff going. I'm looking through any of the questions that I might have here. Let's see. Hey, one of my videos got deleted. I don't know why. It was one of our live streams from Anchor Point. I don't know what happened to that. It disappeared. I don't know what YouTube's doing, but they disappeared. They disappeared one of the videos, the one from the live from Anchor Point. I don't know where it went, and super weird. Thanks, YouTube. YouTube deleted a video, which I thought was weird, because I didn't get any strikes against me or anything like that. So maybe they just didn't want. They just decided we couldn't have nice things. We just can't have those things, I guess. More. Oh, sorry, that's not even a question. That's just people being mad. You mad, bro? Well, you don't need to answer angry people. Going down. G-Bear was telling me to watch my digits. As I mentioned earlier in this video, the reason I bring that up, I did cut this thumb off, and it is growing back. There's just a little bit left to go, so I'm pretty excited for that. Steven Scoglin says you can narrate my videos. My voice isn't good for recording. Honestly, I listened to... I watched Steven's video. He emailed me and said, hey, watch this video, and I said, okay. I clicked on it, and actually he does have pretty... I even complimented him on it. I said he had great sound on there, and actually sounded really good, honestly. It sounded pretty damn good on there. Alright, so I think we've gotten through all of the questions. I'm trying to read them here a little bit because you guys wanted me to extend, so I feel like we've extended the extra time here. Potato said there will be no nice things for me. We got a lot of people running out of time themselves, so maybe we'll just be wrapping this up for today and see what comes for tomorrow. I forget what I have written down for tomorrow's video, but we'll figure out what it is. Well, I don't think it's an extension fail, Steve, when we extend it. We're at an hour and 15 minutes now. I think we extended for a while. I don't know. I could stay on, but it doesn't seem like there's a whole lot to talk about. We could stay on here, man. We could stay on here all night. I guess Vicky would get pretty pissed, though, at some point in time. Hold on. Where did this thing go? All right. So I was trying to look through all of the comments and stuff, and there wasn't a whole lot of questions in the comments. Most of them people had not asked any questions or anything like that. So let me check over here on the emails. Yep. And the emails are clear too. So all right, guys. Well, let's wrap it up for today. Everybody, I hope everybody out there is having a glorious Thursday. I don't have any more video segments to run through or anything like that, so might as well wrap it up for the day. We do have some scheduling things happening next week. I won't tell you what those are. until Monday. So tune in on Monday to find out what those are about. Some scheduling changes are coming, which you may or may not be excited for. I don't know. We'll find out. See how that goes. But hopefully everybody out there has a wonderful, safe Thursday. And if whoever is lighting off fireworks in the middle of the night, at like 4 of the United States, or six states in the United States are on fire. Seriously, stop lighting off fireworks in the middle of the night. It's horseshit. 14 days sober and bought a house today. Great Thursday. Oh, that is a great Thursday. You bought a house today. You didn't even mention that earlier. Bought a house. That is dope. Right on, man. I dig that. I dig that a lot. That's really cool. Hopefully everybody has a great Thursday out there, and stay safe. Don't get too weird. And we shall see you tomorrow at 4 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. All right, everybody, cover up your ears, because here comes the leader. Where's that button at? Later.